like introduce yourself because you've got a long list of accomplishments, and I don't want to diminish any of them in terms of production. So introduce yourself, tell us who you are and what you do, and then we have some follow-up questions for that.
Sure. My name is Keith Andes, songwriter, artist. Artist is the latest thing I've become. But my whole career has been a producer, songwriter, and musician for a lot of sessions. So that's the quick answer.
Okay, list for us some of the most prominent musicians that you've worked with.
James Ingram, Babyface, Whitney Houston, Tony Braxton, Bette Midler, uh, Celine Dion, Whitney Houston, Boys to Men, As Yet. Uh, I
Yeah,
can't,
that's
Natasha Bedingfield. I can't. The list goes on.
yeah, that's plenty right there. I
Yeah.
mean, that's plenty right there. My goodness, what I'm curious because you've worked with some legends. Like,
Yes.
what was maybe some of the most common characteristics you noticed with those artists you just mentioned that really set them apart from other musicians?
They were serious about their craft. They took their craft very seriously. They were very serious about their craft, and they worked on their craft.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Babyface. So Babyface is one of my favorite musicians, artists of all time. What was it like working with Babyface? How is he able to consistently write such impactful and just memorable songs?
When I started working with Kenny, I worked with Kenny for a few years, and we did "Waiting to Exhale" together. We co-wrote "Last Night." We co-wrote a lot of things on "Waiting to Exhale." Worked with him on a bunch of stuff. The thing about him is he's methodical about melody, and that's the thing that I learned the most from him. And he won't stop at if you're writing a song and you can say, "Oh man, this is a great melody," and most people move on to the next thing. He'll go, "Nah, let's see if we can make it better," and he'll just tweak a melodies just the slightest. And that's the one thing that I really learned from him about being a patient songwriter. So I learned to be really, really patient with writing a song. And most people want to write it real fast. Me, I'm very patient. It's every section's got to mean something, and that's what I learned from
Mhm.
him. That's the biggest
That
thing I learned from him.
who else did you work with on the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack? Because that's one of the top soundtracks that's been produced
Yeah,
in
I
time.
worked with him on Shoot. I worked with him on Hurts Like Hell with Aretha Franklin. I co-wrote with him the Faith Evans song, "Kissing You."
Hmm.
Uh, I worked on the duet with Whitney and CeCe Winans.
Let's count on me, I believe.
Yeah, "Count on Me." Yeah, so many songs. I did a bunch of different things on different songs on the album.
Just and what's up, Juts? I see Juts in the chat. Good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. Like when you say you worked on it, give us an example of some things you would do on a particular song to kind of take your part and make it your own.
Okay, I'll give you a perfect one. "Kissing You," Faith Evans. We were mixing it at the record plant, and the hook was different. It was a different hook,
Really?
and we were mixing. And so Kenny would turn around, look at me. We would kind of give each other the eye, and he looked at me. He said, "So how's it sound? Sounded good?" I went, eh, hook still ain't knocking me out. And he's go, "Dude, we're mixing, you know." And I said, "Let's just sit on it for the night." We had it booked for 3 days.
Hmm.
And John Gass was mixing, and we had it booked for 3 days. I said, "Let's just sit on it for the night." And about 3 o'clock in the morning, the melody came, "Kissing You, Softly Kissing." And I called him and sang it on his answering machine.
Wow.
And he calls me back. He goes, "Okay, we got to fly back in." And then that's what happened with the song.
Oh, interesting.
But the hook was totally different. And it was good, but it didn't nail me, you know. So we loved the verses. I loved the beat section, but the hook just didn't knock me down yet. And so he
Okay.
saw it in my face. Yeah.
What was it like working like with Whitney Houston? What was kind of her process? How was she in the studio?
Fast. Comes in,
Really?
comes in, knows the song, sings it, done.
Really?
A pro.
Okay.
All of those guys, like James Ingram, was the same way. I wrote a song that's going to be on my album that me, him, and Ricky Jones wrote together, and it's called "How Much I Love You." And we wrote the song, And he said, okay, let me just do a rough take. And he's singing the song down, holding the lyrics that we just wrote. That's what's on the record.
Ooh, that's phenomenal.
That's how dope those guys are. They're real singers.
Yeah.
They come
All
and
right. Keep if you want to come in and ask questions, because I have plenty questions here because I'm just in awe. So go ahead.
Yeah, Keith is someone that I have gotten to know really well.
That's my baby.
Kind of like dubbed it. He's like my honorary godfather of sorts. So a lot of this stuff I know, and I love him so much. I want to give him just like his flowers and like just new platforms for him to talk about this stuff because he's such a resource. You know what I mean? And Keith is one of my favorite things about him is that he wants to give out the information for the people who are coming up. And try to help, give them a leg to stand on and things like that. But some stuff I will ask a couple questions. So what has been like your all-time favorite moment within your career?
I have two. Well, now I have more than two, but I'll give you two. Those Winans, something's in the blood of that Winans family in Detroit in that war, because all them Negroes can sing. Mm-hmm. And I remember working on BB Winans' album. We wrote a lot of songs together. He came in, he sang the demo. Now, when he sang the demo, he said, okay, we wrote the song. And I never really did demos. I would always do them like records. Mm-hmm. Because you always capture the magic on the records. So he's saying, so okay, well, I got to go back to EMI playing for the label, blah, blah, blah. They love the song. So he said, okay, I want to come back and do the lead vocal again. And I'm going, dude, lead vocal's done. No, I can do it better. So he comes in and he sings. And I'm taking everything. So then I do a thing called comping the vocals. So I have a singer sing a bunch of takes. And then I comp and take the best of everything and put them together as one vocal. So I had the demo vocal that we had. And every time he was sitting in the back talking to somebody else from the label. And every time I pulled that vocal up, he go, yeah, I like that line. Yeah. And I said, dude, after about 5 or 6 times of that, I went, dude, that's the demo. And he goes, oh, man. I said, I told you we didn't have to re-sing it. So did that on 2 songs. And then another time was Aretha Franklin. Working with her on a Waiting to Exhale. And we went to Detroit to cut it. And she walks in, she goes, okay, you got 3 takes. I'm only going to sing it 3 times. She got it down the first time.
Okay.
I said, okay, give me another take. And then she sang it again. I said, okay, we're good. She said, okay, which one you like the better first? Well, how come you made me sing the second one? I said, I just want to hear you sing it again.
Oh, yes. Yes. Wow.
Then she cooked a big spread. And I said, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah. Okay, and she cooked too.
Yeah. So I work with all those people, man, just those greats. What they all had in common is that they took their craft really seriously and they were good at it. Yeah. They were really, really good.
Yeah, yeah. Have you written a book yet?
No.
Have you thought about writing a book? Because just from talking to you for about 10 minutes, I'm sure you got a lot of stories to share.
My sons are on me about writing a book. My sons.
Bless their hearts.
Dad, you got to write a book. Pops, you got to
Yes, you do. Yeah. Yes, you do. Speaking of books, because I want to ask you about that, like for people who are up and coming in the industry, like an Ari, or like my students who are taking, these classes to become better music business professionals, as some students that are looking to become better performers. Any books that you really like to recommend to people that they should read? Okay, talk to us. Yes.
One, I can't think of the title, but the book written by L.A. Reid.
Oh, no. Okay. Book by L.A. Reid.
Incredible book. The book written by Clive Davis. Can't think of the name of that book either. Mm-hmm. And because I think I would have been prepared. And then And then the last one, the book written by David Geffen.
Oh, by David. And why did you pick those 3?
Because they're informative about what the real record business is and what it takes. and how not easy it is. It's
Right.
time, patience. People nowadays they want it to happen overnight, and it doesn't work that way. It's a time, and you get better at your craft. The more you do it, the better you get at your craft. And they all talk about the same thing.
Interesting. Okay, I'm a huge proponent. I love R&B music. Writing my second book on why there's no longer any black R&B groups on the Billboard chart since about 2004.
I can give
When
you a
you hear,
I can give you a good reason for that.
tell me, I'm here listening to it all. Thank you.
Finances. It's too
Mhm.
costs too much to move a group around. That's really what it is. It's economics.
Wow.
It's
For
economics.
so many decades, from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and a little bit of 2000, the economics didn't matter. What was the change that caused it to economics to be more of a factor?
Streaming, and then the streaming really hurt us. I think it's going to get better. I have hope, but the streaming really hurt us because when they took away the physical devices and stuff like the record companies they were printing money, and so
Yeah.
they were able to move a group around and give everybody a separate home. Now you can't do that anymore. So it just doesn't pay.
What is your opinion on the current state of R&B music?
Um, uh, well, I'm working to make it better. I'll just say it like that. I think I think the issue is, and I tread lightly on this subject because I don't want to sound
Every,
like I don't want to sound like an old curmudgeon.
all right.
Um, but I'm about the craft, and most people they're more into being famous than being good, and so
Uh,
they're doing what they think is hot instead of doing what is good. And what we came up with, we wanted to make good music. It wasn't, yeah, they wanted to make money, but we took pride. If somebody was doing something, a sound, and we would play something, we go, no, 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 they're already doing that. We can't do that. Now everybody wants to sound like everybody else. And it's the same thing over and over again. So that's my pet peeve with it, with R&B. And R&B, instead of trying to be rappers, be singers. More R&B. The last verses was a disaster show of that. That
uh,
they were trying to be rappers as opposed to being singers, and that's a whole different dynamic. And so the singing is gone. People really taking their craft seriously is gone.
how do
I'm
you?
sorry. I hate to burst everybody's bubble, but that's
No, 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 no. We need the truth, and if
yeah,
the truth hurts, we need to hear it.
yeah.
Well, how do you find good R&B music now? Because you don't hear it on the mainstream. Where do you find the good music?
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. For a long time, I really don't listen to the radio. I don't really listen to outside music that much. I listen as if I hear something, if I'm in the store and I hear something, go, ooh, what's that? Then I'll Shazam it and find out, then I'll look. Or if I'm watching a show and this interesting song comes out, ooh, what's that? I Shazam it to find out and listen. But I don't do that because I don't want to be a copycat. I want to do what's in my heart and what's in me. And if you're listening to a lot of different things all the time, I'll listen sometimes just to hear sonically where the kicks are sitting or where this or what they're using for that. And then I turn it off. And I learned that lesson from Babyface. Because when he's in right mode, he doesn't listen to no music. He doesn't
Mhm.
listen to nobody else because I don't want to copy what anybody else is doing. And so that's my role right now. I drive in the car, I don't listen. My radio hasn't been on in 3 years in my car. I don't listen. I listen to audiobooks, I listen to podcasts, or I listen to only songs that I'm writing on. And that sounds crazy, but that's my way of staying focused and staying in my lane and being true to who I am as a producer, artist, and a songwriter. I'm not copying nobody. I'm being who I am. I'm following my own heartbeat. So that's the way I look at it.
So then, if we were to ask you your thoughts on how Afro beats is kind of taking over,
I
would you
love it.
have any thoughts? Would you have any thoughts on that? What do you think?
Well, I love Afro beats. It's those are the things that when they come across like ooh, just the grooves and stuff, how they and really melodically, they're very melodic. I
Right.
love how melodic they are. So it's a groove. I don't half the time I don't know what they're saying, but they got a vibe and I love it. I love it.
Right. Right. okay, what about like advice for younger musicians who are just entering the industry or want like they're maybe they're looking and do I sign with label? Do I go independent? How do I get my song out there? What advice do you have for younger musicians who are just entering into the game?
Get good at your craft first. Get good at your craft. Forget the deals, forget the labels. Write great songs, make great records. Get good first. Then start looking. Because if you get good, you don't have to look, they'll find you.
Hmm, interesting. What about on the business side? In terms of the business of music, what advice do you give kind of people who are into the industry or they want to work on the business side of the industry?
Okay, I do a thing with Ari. She and Payne. They have We the Future, and we have a thing every other Wednesday called the Hippie Lounge, and which I love doing. I really enjoy it. It's changed my life. And um, somebody called in and asked about should they get a manager. Remember that, Ari? And I told them I was real blatant. I said, hell no, you don't need a manager. What you have nothing to manage. Get good at your craft first. And then see who's around you that believes in you, that has a good business sense, and make that person your manager. Because they're not going to run away when you get hot or you get cold. They're still going to stick with you because they believe in who you are. You know?
Mhm.
So Ari's a rare kind of a manager. So she's a diamond in the rough. You know, so whoever she manages, they got a queen, they got a soldier. So, but that's rare, hard to find. You know, most people are chasing the check, and most people that became people's managers are people that were very close to them and they believed in them, and they only had one client.
Mhm. Let's talk about technology. First of all, when you're in the studio, do you use like Ableton Live, FL Studio? What's your
I use
preferred
I prefer a Studio One.
studio?
I
Okay.
love Studio One. Started yeah, we all started with Pro Tools, and then I went to Logic, and then I have the machine back there. But all then I got turned on to Studio One, and I got turned on by Teddy Riley. Teddy Riley told me about it, and then another producer, Greg Curtis, who did Keisha Cole, and
Mhm.
they told me about Studio One, and I just the drag and drop. I love it, and that's what I use. That's what I prefer. I live and die. I Studio One. I still have Logic, but I'll import it. People moving sessions, and I'll import everything into Studio One. I love Studio One.
So not trying to like maybe get all your secrets, but if like in terms of tech, any kind of device that you love to use that's like cool or different, like whether it be an interface, a microphone. I have my Stream Deck, like
I
because I'm a
love
DJ, so I'm loving to hear what you would say.
I love the Black Lion audio.
Oh,
Oh, it's really it changed. It's so meaty and thick. It almost feels analog. I was using it UAD and it was good.
right.
And then I went to Focusrite. It was a little thinner. But then I got turned on to Black Lion, changed the game. It's
Okay.
just so meaty and thick. It feels analog. I love Black Lion audio.
Black Lion. I'm just taking notes here.
Mhm.
It's okay. So that's the tech. I always gotta ask about tech. I asked about the dog. We gotta cover all the things. Then we get back to like the group songwriting. I, I think that Babyface is probably one of the best lyricists that's in modern times in terms of writing lyrics to songs. What is the key to what's your comment on that? And then what's the key to writing like lyrics that can stand the test of time?
I always said Babyface is sort of the George Gershwin of our time.
Mm,
And he is a phenomenal songwriter. I learned so much from him just writing with him. And I was already a good songwriter, but he made me a better songwriter because his attention to detail melodically. And that's the thing that really stood out with me with him, his attention to detail. And then lyrically, what I love about him lyrically, he has a conversation. And I always learned about some words sing better than others, and always finding the singable words that are usual to sing, but they sing well. So no, I would agree with you. Babyface, writing with Lionel Richie he's one of my favorites as well. And
why? Tell us why, Lionel Richie.
Oh, well, I'll give you a Lionel Richie story. On the Forever album, there was a song called we wrote. I can't think of the name. We wrote so many songs, but on that album, I'll think of it.
Okay.
And I was invited. He heard of my songs. He heard my songwriting. He wanted to write with me. We both had the same assistant manager, Ivy Scoff. She used to do all my details. She did me. She handled Face, and she handled Lionel Richie. Those were her 3 clients. And I met her through working with Babyface. And so Ivory told Lionel about me, and he heard my song. So yes, I want to write with him. So I showed up at his house. And the first time somebody answered the door, Butler answers the door. And he's got this amazing house. So he brings me into his studio, but I had no idea what I'm going to do. And so he had done another album, but he had gotten away from the Lionel Richie that we knew him as. And I wanted to bring him back to that, to the Commodores, Truly, Say You, Say Me. I wanted to bring him back to that. So I just started to sit at the piano and start writing this song. I had the melody. So he walks in and we talk a little bit, and I said, hey man, I want to play you something. I sat and played and sang. He went, oh, but I didn't write the bridge. And there was a lesson to learn. I said, I give room for these great writers to write because I wanted to give him room to write so he could write on it. And this way I have a chance of at least getting on the record, And so I said, I said, hey man, I need you to come up with one of your Lionel Richie bridges. And he came, sat down, he came up with it, and then we wrote the lyrics, and it was that. And it wound up. That's the Way I Feel is the name of the song. It was on his album. Then after that was finished, he called me back, and he said, "Hey man, I'm in Nashville recording my album. I want you to come with me to Nashville to write." And we sat up in this hotel room for 2 weeks. We wrote about 10, 12 songs. So that was he's another songsmith. That guy just melodies. The key, Quincy Jones always taught me melody is king. Melody is king. We sing A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's a melody. When you teach kids something, they learn by melody. So melody is king. And I go by that. Does that melody stick? Does the melody stick?
Love it. Who are some current artists that you're keeping an eye on as we look at the current landscape of music?
I'm a Bruno Mars fanatic.
Okay.
I love that. Is, if you ask me who I would want to work with, he's the guy.
Okay.
Because he's from the old school, his attention to detail, and he can sing his face off. So he's the guy that I really would love to work with. I love Jasmine Sullivan.
Oh yes.
I think she can sing her face off. Big fan of hers. Those are the ones that really stand out to me.
Okay.
Right now.
We always ask, or recently, we always ask our guests kind of for their Mount Rushmore of R&B, or we'll say R&B artists, because I'm an R&B fan, so I'm going to default to that. What 4 artists would you put on your Mount Rushmore?
Okay, give me a sec.
Take your time. Yes.
I got to put Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Luther Vandross.
All right.
Donny Hathaway.
Ooh, okay.
And James Brown.
Okay. Love the list. Love the diversity. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. What are you currently working on that you can share with us? What's going on?
Just released a song by a young artist named Zandy Ashley called Your Eyes, I Believe. It's doing really, really well. And she's, I met her at the Hippie Lounge. Okay. I'm clapping for Ari.
All right. Zandy.
Zandy Ashley, Zandi. Ashley,
Mhm.
Ashley. Your
Okay.
Eyes, I Believe. And I see her. She's a star. And I heard her at the event, but there was something that was missing. She lacked the confidence that I thought she needed. And I told her that. And then she came up to me and we was talking about music. And I saw how serious she was about the music. And then I thought about the song that I had written, Your Eyes, I Believe. And I had this song, but I was writing for the right voice. And that's another thing I learned from Babyface. Sometimes you gotta wait for the right voice, for the right song.
Mm. Mm.
Not every song is for everybody. And some people try to force songs on people. But not some people go, yo, they're hot, but that song's really not for them. They're not the right voice for it. Zandy was the right voice for this song. So I sent her a text. And I was a little nervous about it because she's a really good looking girl. I didn't want nobody to think I was trying to hit on that. That wasn't.
Understood.
So yeah,
Understood.
so I wanted to be professional. I sent her a text. I said, hey man, I have this song that I would love for you to listen to. I think it'd be perfect for you. She came over the next I heard it, loved it, and we cut it. And she killed it. And I asked Ari, she hears it. She did the interview with her.
Really? Okay. You approve, Ari?
Oh, it's a great song. I remember, and I've told this story. I've talked about it on the interview as well. Like, I don't remember what reason I was over at Keith's studio, and he showed me the song, and silence, and I just look at him, and I like pulled my sleeve up and had goosebumps. Like,
Goosebumps.
it's a great song.
Yeah, when I
The reason I love it so much is because I grew up like listening to J Lo, and it has this very like early J Lo pop, but like with a little bit of like rock elements, and it's just meshed so well. And especially the end of it, like it's just a great song overall. It's super well constructed. The quality is amazing. Zandy did a great job. Like there's nothing else. It's just great.
yeah, I'm very proud of it. And then I did I had a good record with Crutchfield Jones, a song called Crazy Ass that I
Mhm.
co-wrote and produced on them. So we went with number one in England and we did win number one in Scandinavia. So and Ricky Jones is somebody that I've been writing with for 30 years. So yeah,
Right.
so I'm very proud of them. And then I have my own music out as well under Keith Andes. You can find it everywhere. My Life. I
Okay.
have 9 songs and I'm working on a new one now.
Okay. Okay. Are you a member of BMI, ASCAP,
CSAC.
CSAC? Okay. And one of those three. Okay.
I was ASCAP for years.
Okay.
Went through a divorce, and so I changed over to CSAC.
Yes.
yeah,
I
yeah,
understand. I understand.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. I mean, you've answered all my questions. We could talk for hours. I will say one of my dreams is to interview Babyface. So if
Mm.
as we go along the way, if you're able to assist in any way, I would love some assistance
I'll
because
make
I would love.
I'll make the call.
Oh, thank you. Because
I'll
I
make
want to ask him about the R&B groups, but just about music in general. And I don't think enough people talk about Babyface being a legend in the industry as they
and
should.
he's one of the great. I tell you, he's a George Gershwin. He's a great songwriter.
Yeah.
I learned a lot sitting with him and just writing hundreds of songs, and I understand the process. And I walked away from that a better songwriter. I was good, but I walked away better. Yeah, just learning from him. He's amazing. He's amazing.
What's the best way we can kind of support you, follow along all the socials? Where do you
Um,
live? Where do you live?
I live. My Instagram is at Keith Andes Producer.
Okay.
Twitter Keith Andes. Facebook Keith Andes. LinkedIn Keith Andes.
That's good. That's simple.
and
Pretty
then
sure.
and then like and follow. Follow me on Spotify,
Mhm.
Apple, or whatever you use. Title Keith Andes.
Okay. All right. Last question, and then we'll kind of let you continue about your day. Is like any last minute words of wisdom or advice for young up and coming artists or people maybe who are in the business but have hit a plateau? What would you say to them?
Ooh, that's a good one. For those that hit a plateau, and I get a lot of, I call the senior members of our business, have called me literally in tears and saying, when me making records, they're going, dude, thank you. Because I thought I was done. And you made me realize that it's not over. It's never over. Keep making your music. Do you. We all have fingerprints, but no two fingerprints are alike. And no fingerprint is better than the other fingerprint. Be yourself. Be true to who you are. You will find an audience, but you got to be consistent. And don't give up. Stop listening to what everybody else is doing. Follow your own lane.
Love it. We'll give you some applause for that right there. A little round of applause for that advice. Thank you for appearing on the show. It's been a great talking to you. I mean, I'm just the stories you tell. We got to write that book. I will buy pre-order. Write the book.
Yeah.
I got to do it. Yes. So write the book. We'll continue. It's nice to meet you, Ari. Thank you for introducing, and we'll support you for sure. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Ari. I love you. You know,
I love you too. Bye.
All right. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Welcome to Twitch.
Right.
There you go.